Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alfany. So we're going to begin here with this post on Twitter from James K. Falan. A lot is happening today in the SEC versus Ripple case. So let's read this little tidbit here. It says, Ripple defendants file letter notice of supplemental authority in further support of their fair notice defense. It's the judge's decision. It's decision of Judge Michael Wiles in the Voyager bankruptcy case, where Judge Wiles rejected the SEC's objections and approved the bankruptcy plan. So now let's scroll down here, actually, because there's a little bit more I wanted to read. So David Schwartzton chimes in and he says, it's just the Department of Justice insisting that they not be prohibited from criminally prosecuting people for doing precisely what a judge's order would compel them to do, despite not having raised any coherent argument that any part of the order is illegal, which is mind-blowing. My word. These, well, man, I tell you, the regulators and lawmakers in the United States, I don't know, man. Something's wrong. I'm telling you that right now. It's wrong. It takes a lot of energy just reading this nonsense and just thinking to yourself, the people that run these major countries don't know what they're doing at all and have been for quite some time. It's like, you know, I'm going to get back to the articles and tweets and all that, right? Just bear with me for a moment. But in my opinion, it's like watching an individual steering a ship and then they just let go. They just let go and just let the ship just go wherever, just do whatever it wants. Eventually it's going to crash. It's going to capsize. You have to control the ship. So then we have this tweet here from Jeremy Hogan. And he says this. He says, Ripple finally filed the Voyage bankruptcy judge's decision. The judge uses abnormally strong language, stating that the U.S. regulators themselves cannot even agree on what criteria to use in deciding whether crypto is a security. Fair notice. So he posted this little blurb here. So let's read this a little bit. It's from the actual document. It says here, second, just as defendants have highlighted in connection with their fair notice defense, Judge Wiles found that cryptocurrency market participants operate, quote, in a regulatory environment that at best can be described as highly uncertain, in which regulators themselves cannot seem to agree as to whether cryptocurrencies are commodities that may be subject to regulation by the CFTC, or whether they are securities that are subject to securities laws, or neither, or even on what criteria should be applied in making the decision. So the judge understands that the regulators know nothing. It continues on here. And uncertainty, and quote, uncertainty that has persisted despite the fact that cryptocurrency exchanges have been around for a number of years. The judge is talking spicy and exposing them because that's suspicious. Once again, he says it has persisted despite the fact that cryptocurrency exchanges have been around all this time. What he's saying is they've been around all this time. Why haven't you taken action on this? But you expect us, the legal system, the judges, to side with you, but you haven't taken actions in all of these years. They've been around for years. And you haven't come up with clarity at all. You haven't done anything at all. The judge is calling them out on this. This is why it's not abnormally strong language. I think it's highly appropriate, in my humble opinion. Go get them, judge. So now the Honorable Judge Annalisa Torres is going to be reading this. This can have a huge impact because we're just getting judge after judge. Remember what happened in the LBRY case? We're getting one precedent after another where a judge is saying, hey, wait a minute, SEC, you're wrong. We don't agree with you. We don't like what you're doing. So at least in this way, and listen, we're not mind readers. We don't know what the Honorable Judge Annalisa Torres is going to do. But at least in this way, we're getting one little victory after another as far as legal authorities saying, hey, we don't stand with SEC. All right. So this is very, very good, in my humble opinion. Things continue to look good. Let's hope that the final outcome is what we all want it to be. And then we can move on with our lives and things going to move forward very quickly if we get a positive outcome to this case. So now let's move on here. So then there was actually a question before we get onto the articles. There was a question from someone named XRP Bobbles, and they said this: at attorney Jeremy Hogan, has anything changed regarding the outcome on this case at this point? Is it getting better percentage-wise? Jeremy Hogan replies, well, I thought the Daubert ruling looked good for Ripple. So once again, we've had a lot of steps forward in our movement towards the finish line, our movement towards victory. There's been a multitude of little victories. Let's hope is leading up to the major victory. And so as of right now, once again, I reiterate, things are looking good. Let's hope it continues that way. All right, now let's move on here. This article is from finbowl.com. It's titled Ripple versus SEC Court Case. Update as of March 20th, 2023. Let's read just a little tidbit here. It says, the crypto community is eagerly awaiting the possible summary judgment date in the Ripple lawsuit fronted by the Securities and Exchange Commission. As a recap, legal experts have speculated that the matter might be determined in the first quarter of 2023. I have heard other timelines, but this is the best one where we could get this over with as soon as possible. Oh, and it would be huge, my word. All the bank coins, in my humble opinion, will rise at the same time because their use cases are all so similar. This is why a lot of them have been laying low, right? They've been laying low. Let's continue on here. It says, in the meantime, various legal practitioners are offering predictions regarding the possible outcome in the case and the judge's overall implication on the crypto space. Under the latest update, pro XRP lawyer John Deaton, in a tweet on March 19th, has maintained that the controversial Hinman documents will be eventually made public, despite the SEC's objection. If that happens, hold on to your blazers. Holy smokes. I want to say something, but I really shouldn't. It's like dropping one of those things. You know what I'm talking about? The Hinman documents are like dropping one of those things that you really don't want dropped. Boom. It would be exactly that. It really would. I know that there's something in those documents and why they're protecting them like they are. It exposes not only them. See, here's the thing. It would expose not only them, but I believe whoever was prompting them to take such behaviors, it would expose them as well. Just my humble opinion. Just my humble opinion. So according to Deaton, the documents relating to former SEC official William Hinman will be unsealed regardless of the decision by presiding judge Annalisa Torres. He noted that the judge would rely on the documents to make her judgment and, in the process, declare them, quote, judicial documents and order them to be unsealed. Quote, regarding the Hinman emails and speech drafts, the SEC has requested for them to remain sealed, even after Judge Torres ruling on summary judgment. SEC is absolutely insane. They really are, man. They're like children that have always gotten their way. And so they scream, they stomp, they throw some stuff around in hopes that they're going to get their way again. Oh, thank goodness that so many of the judges actually are going against the SEC and doing the right thing so far. We will see if that continues. It says, I believe the emails and speech drafts will be made public at some point, regardless of Judge Torres' decision on whether to seal, unquote, he said. So I wanted to get an update on Credit Agricole, one of Ripple's bank partners, and I just briefly wanted to see if they were doing well. And once again, it proves Ripple is doing business with a lot of really, really good banks. It says here, Credit Agricole total assets. Oh, this is from ycharts.com, okay? Credit Agricole total assets quarterly, 2.246 trillion for June 30th, 2022. Safe to say, that is a lot in assets. Now, that's important because if we're going to be involved in the tokenization of everything, just imagine a modicum of that. See, I'm not even saying take the whole thing. Imagine a modicum of that, of those trillions flowing across the XRPL. Now, keep in mind, we have hundreds of banks already signed up. Now, also, I'd like to put this out there once again. I believe that if SWIFT has thousands upon thousands of banks a part of them, I think we could at least get 1,000, right? We've always said, or seen rather, that Ripple has hundreds of banks. That could move into the thousands. I think it will. So if you have a modicum of trillions from thousands of banks or even billions, and you're adding all of that up together, what does it do to that price of XRP if all of that at some point in the future, not saying now, everything happens in degrees, but if a modicum of that is moving across the XRPL, that's a lot of capital. What does it do to that price of XRP? Make up your own mind. I'm just sharing my humble opinion based on things that I have seen, but credit Agricole is looking very good right now. Okay, so now let's move on here. We have a little bit, just a little bit of Algorand news. It says here, just from Algorand developers, ALGO developers. It says here, Algorand.net SDK 2.0 released. It says write hashtag Web3 smart contracts with a .net. So now they're capable of even more. Algorand continues to surge forward, continues to innovate, continues to become even more powerful. It says, here's some bullet points here. It says dash ALGO D API updates, dash KMD, second bullet point, dash KMD reworked. So they made it even better, went back, saw things that could be improved, even though they're probably already great already, and made it even better, right? This is what Algorand does. This is why they're respected across the world. Why they can just go to Italy and then the Central Bank of Italy and all the insurers and a bevy of other banks. Keep that in mind. There was a lot of other banks. If you remember, a lot of people, you screenshot that list of banks, didn't you? Right. So all those banks were like, yes, bring Algorand to us. And that's only going to continue. I guarantee there's going to be many more banks. Well, I can't guarantee anything. Let me not say guarantee, but I feel strongly that many more banks in the future will also choose to utilize Algorand. But let's continue on here. It says, then a big dash here says Unity support. Let me tell you something, because they're really making a huge push with Web3 gaming, that Unity partnership, that usage or ability to use Algorand and Unity together is going to be huge and gives a heck of an advantage. Anybody who's been in gaming and try to design some games, you know about Unreal Engine, you know about Unity. They are the best of the best, especially now with Unity, because what's that type of coding that you can do now? It's like you don't have to do coding. You're just choosing these blocks. I can't remember what it's called, and I'm lacking the wording to express it, but they made it easier to make games without having to code them. I think that was on Unity. I believe it was. So anyway, there could be a bevy of games released using Unity on Algorand for Web3. The graphics would be really good. I mean, as long as people, take their time to actually build build good games, of course. But that could lead to a lot of capital moving across Algorand in the future. Especially people are buying all types of clothing and emotes and things like that in game constantly. That's constant flow. That's a lot of capital that could be moving across Algorand faithfully, consistently. Gamers take things seriously. They spend a lot of capital, right? And now that you're going to have unique articles of things that you can purchase, then the price could even be higher, which is a scary thing to think about when it comes to gaming. I'll tell you that right now. I remember in the early 90s, even back then, gaming was kind of expensive for the time as well. But now it's just unbelievably insane. They charge you for everything. So that's a little bit scary that things could get more expensive. But I suppose there is a reverse side to every shield, as they say, right? So anyway, let me continue on here. When I talk about Algorand at times, I could talk on and on and on. I like a lot of what they do. I just do. I enjoy it. So we have some Hedera news. All right. I get a little fired up when I start getting Algorand, Hedera, and stuff like that, because, they're some of the sleepers. People are still, they don't really know about Algorand and Hedera just yet. They're not mainstream, and the people don't believe, like before, that they're going to explode. So I always enjoy that, going against the grain, because I know what's coming. Just like before. This happened before, right? So anyway, a little bit of Hedera news. It says, today we are excited to announce the launch of @DLT Science, a global nonprofit organization promoting the research and use of DLT across academia, industry, and government, supported by Hedera to drive real-world adoption of Web3. Whoa. So, do you see what's happening here, everyone? I told you, it's not just a new financial system. It's a new system as a whole. They're sneaking it in. You see, they're putting the new financial system out here out front. It seems to me, just my humble opinion, they're putting the new financial system out here out front. Meanwhile, there's a new world system sneaking in the back door. This is what it seems to me. So you mean to tell me that Ripple announces that they want to supercharge Web3? That's what the last video was titled. So a lot of these video titles lately, I'm just taking it straight from what the people are saying. So Ripple says they want to supercharge Web3. Now you have Hedera announcing today, hey, we just want to help push real world adoption of Web3. There's no coincidences, folks. These companies, they know that the new financial system or the new world system is all one. They've been working together for the longest time. They're all in the same corridors. They're all trying to deal with the same banks. They're sitting on the same governmental panels. They're all at Davos. It's a plan. It's my humble opinion. This is not there's no way yesterday Ripple's talking about supercharging Web3 and here Hedera saying it. But let me move on. I know, Alphanine, get to the article. I know. I talk from time to time, time to time. Somebody's like, shut up, get to the article, Alphanine. All right, tranquilo. Calmate. All right. So anyway, let's read this little tidbit here. Just a little bit. This is from the dltscience.org, okay? And it says here, DLT Science Foundation, a global nonprofit organization, launched today with the goals of expanding knowledge and adoption of and removing barriers to fundamental breakthroughs in the field of distributed ledger technology. Central to the foundation's plan to support the responsible adoption of DLT is a comprehensive set of programs that will offer support in 3 key areas: innovation, education, and research. So this support will be provided by the foundation itself and through the use of grants and members of the DSF University Network. This network will feature a diverse array of leading universities from all over the world. I knew that governing council was going to come in handy. Come on. The connections that Hedera has because of the governing council is what's making this possible. They're ensuring what Ripple and Hedera are doing quietly, because they're not, this stuff is not really making the mainstream news. Just you and I know about this stuff. They're ensuring that the rest of the world is absorbing the new financial system, the new world system, and that when it's time to go, there's no stopping it. Now, this is going to take some time, of course. I mean, logically, they're setting up infrastructures. They have to teach people. They have to have a bevy of a lot more meetings. But it's happening. That's what's important. All right, now, so let's move on here. Okay, we're going to cover a little bit more layoff news. I told people we've been keeping up with this for about, I think we're going on about a year almost now. We're creeping up on a year of keeping up with the mass layoffs that have been going on. I like to keep my word, so we're going to keep up with this stuff here. So this is from Axios.com. It's titled Amazon Layoffs, March 2023 announcement. More layoffs. But they say everything is good. Everything is okay. And all the sun is shining. That's what they tell me. It says Amazon on Monday announced plans to lay off another 9,000 employees. Who's going to be left working at Amazon? Just every few weeks, they're laying off thousands. What is going on here? It says to lay off another 9,000 employees on top of the 18,000 layoffs announced in January. This is happening at multiple companies, folks. We're just covering Amazon today because this is the article here that I saw. It says why it matters. These layoffs come shortly after Facebook. We covered that one also. Facebook announced a second round of cuts, suggesting that other tech giants may still believe they're overstaffed. This is going to get worse because the economy, listen, if what I read that the Fed is thinking about doing was true and accurate, and I'm waiting to get a few more sources. I mean, I don't know how they avoid hyperinflation. Let's continue to read this. It says new cuts will come primarily from Amazon's advertising, Twitch, Amazon Web Services, and PTX units. Okay, so they're cutting from other units now. Not that that's any better. But there's a lot of people going to be unemployed, or I mean, the jobs that are out there are not great. That's what they're not telling people. They come out with this stuff and they try to, the politicians try to make themselves look good. Oh, there's jobs. They don't tell the people that these jobs are terrible. They don't tell them that. Says what they're saying. Some may ask why we didn't announce these role reductions with the ones we announced a couple of months ago, said Amazon CEO Andy Jassy. Quote, the short answer is that not all of the teams were done with their analysis in the late fall. The excuses really don't matter, but people need to keep up with this so they know the state of the economy within the United States, and they know what's happening, and if this affects them at all, from whether they may be an employee at a company that people may need to look into. Is their company going to be making cuts, right? So they're not blindsided. So it's important in that way. Also, so people can protect themselves at all costs. Maybe they need to save a little bit more money. I mean, I don't know, but let's move on here. Okay, I hope everybody's being safe out there. I really do. I hope everyone's doing well. Every single one of you, I hope you're doing well out there, okay? Be safe, protect yourself at all times. Remember to control your own mind. Don't let people influence you to do this or that. I know you don't really need me to tell you. I know you're a legend, you're a winner. I get it, I know. But still, old Alpha Neem has to say it anyway, okay? Be safe out there. So anyway, we have this article here from newsbtc.com, and it's titled, Taiwan follows Hong Kong with plans to regulate crypto. The rest of the world running towards the new financial system. Here we go. It says Taiwan has announced its plans to regulate its crypto industry through the Financial Supervision and Administration Committee, or the newly established Ministry of Digital Affairs, MODA. Taiwan's crypto legislation. Taiwan plans to regulate cryptocurrencies through special legislation, and its Financial Supervisory Commission will monitor the burgeoning industry. Wang Tianmu, the chairman of the FSC, confirmed this during a parliament hearing analyzing global banking stability. Participants in Taiwan's crypto industry welcomed the news. Wang, the co-founder and CEO of XRP, believes the industry will grow under proper regulations. They're getting ready. Listen, man, Hong Kong and Taiwan, they have always been known to be at the forefront of technology innovation, leaping at opportunities. I mean, the rest of the world, they're getting ready. The new rules will require crypto trading platforms to be licensed by the appropriate regulators. Meanwhile, consultations have been launched to propose how best to regulate virtual asset trading platforms. An initial framework for the law is expected by June, with an initial draft for later this year. Taiwan's central bank and FSC are two of the primary financial regulators in Taiwan. The central bank sets the country's monetary policy and oversees foreign exchange regulations. On the other hand, the FSC has a broad remit over everything from banking regulation, securities, and futures to anti-money laundering. Okay, so we want to read the rest of that. They have a lot more here. They have a section coming up titled FTX Crash, Shaping Taiwan's Crypto Landscape. This is on newsbtc.com. Make sure to check them out. They're doing a good job, all right? So now let's move on to this next article here. So now we have this article here. It's on cointelegraph.com. And it's titled, Blockchain Gaining Adoption in More Than Just DeFi. Report says here, anyone familiar with blockchain industry knows that decentralized finance is one of the sector's most prominent use cases with the most substantial adoption. Recent issues in the banking sector like those surrounding SVB, my goodness, I'm so tired of hearing about that and talking about that. Oh, my word. Let me skip that little part. It says, the question Cointelegraph research dives into this latest report, quote, blockchain use cases and adoption, unquote. It does cover some financial use cases for Bitcoin, Bitcoin. Oh man, that's going to be the next, what do they call that? What do they call those things? What are those coins? Like this, like those bad coins, whatever those bad coins are called. That's going to be the next one of those. Bitcoin. their motto: get addicted. Bitcoin. Oh my goodness. Use cases for Bitcoin and crypto. I don't know why that made me laugh so much. My apologies, everyone. I don't know, man. It just made me laugh. But also explores data management, cloud storage, supply chain, smart sensors, carbon credits, decentralized autonomous organizations, digital identities, and more. The report focuses on real-world use cases rather than theoretical applications and highlights projects in each area. Cointelegraph Research used the current market penetration of different projects, the compound annual growth rate of the industry, and various macroeconomic factors to create an equation of exchange model, which was used to project the future total lot value and the potential penetration of blockchain technology in each segment. For example, in 2022, the estimated size of global insurance market was 5.94 trillion, with the blockchain industry penetration rate at 0.01%. Cointelegraph Research forecasts that by 2025, blockchain projects will penetrate 0.05% of the total addressable market at a TVL of 4.2 billion. It says the world is already on the blockchain in many ways. Okay, so then they continue a little bit more here. It says the quote blockchain use cases and adoption report covers this. A June 2022 Deloitte survey found that 75% of United States retailers plan to accept crypto payments within 2 years, while a Cointelegraph survey last year found that 62% of professional investors held digital assets. Okay, so once again, that article is on Cointelegraph.com. So here's an article here on Coinstats.app, and it's titled Crypto Frenzy Imminent as Fed Focus on Liquidity Operations. Yeah, they have been having liquidity problems all around the world. This puts us in a great position as liquidity, we have on-demand liquidity, we have instant liquidity. We can move liquidity anywhere. All you got to do is run your capital. You deploy your asset, run your capital through XLM or XRP or Algorand, such like that. And of course, that capital, that asset is converted or rise to rails rather of XRP, XLM, or Algorand to the other side where it is converted into that fiat again, or whatever asset, fiat-backed asset, that or fiat pegged asset that you put in, and then you're able to extract that value. Hence liquidity. They haven't been able to move money like they want to around the world because they lack liquidity. So we're in a great position, in my humble opinion. Now, let me read this little tidbit here. It says, along with other central banks, the U.S. Federal Reserve is working jointly. Second bullet point, this concerted move again aims to boost liquidity via the standing U.S. dollar liquidity swap line arrangements. Third bullet point, the cryptocurrency community is optimistic about this move. The cryptocurrency community is once again optimistic following the March 19th announcement by the Federal Reserve. The statement highlights the Fed's efforts to support the economy by collaborating with other central banks. The Bank of Canada, the Bank of England, the Bank of Japan, that's some of our people there, the European Central Bank, and the Swiss National Bank, who we covered the other day. This coordinated action's alleged primary objective is to strengthen liquidity provision through the standing U.S. dollar liquidity swap line arrangements, which I think we read a little bit about that the other day. This initiative also aims to ensure the smooth functioning of financial markets, which means without that liquidity, the markets won't move smoothly, which is concerning. So they're going to print more money? The only way that they can do this is by injecting more liquidity. If they do that, inflation goes up. So this initiative also aims to ensure smooth functioning of financial markets, facilitate cross-border credit flows, and ease the strain on the global financial system caused by the ongoing economic crisis that they caused, by the way. Yeah, so this is we're gonna keep our eye on this, because I don't understand how they're going to do this without printing more money, and they need to clarify. Are you going to be printing more money? Now, I'm trying to pull up the original article here. Let's see if there's a little bit more. Bear with me, please. This is hoped to serve as a liquidity backstop that will reduce the stresses that are now present in the global financial markets. Additionally, in light of these developments, cryptocurrency enthusiasts are concentrating intensely on the effects these rulings will have on the cryptocurrency market. So I went to the federalreserve.gov, and it says this little tidbit here, so we can gain a little bit more clarity on these swap lines and what they're talking about. It says here, When the foreign central bank loans the dollars it obtains by drawing on its swap line to institutions in its jurisdiction, the dollars are transferred from the foreign central bank's account at the Federal Reserve to the account of the bank that the borrowing institution uses to clear its dollar transactions. Sorry, I read that a little bit strange. Let me minimize my screen. Apologize for that. The foreign central bank remains obligated to return the dollars to the Federal Reserve under the terms of the agreement. I'm starting to think they have to print some money. Why do I say that? Because a lot of what the Federal Reserve has been rendered illiquid. I mean, I just don't understand. Well, let me continue on. The foreign central bank remains obligated to return the dollars, okay? And the Federal Reserve is not a counterparty to the loan extended by the foreign central bank. The foreign central bank bears the credit risk associated with the loans it makes to institutions in its jurisdiction. Sorry, I have to pause because I'm like thinking this entire, I'm trying to figure this out. This doesn't sound safe. It doesn't sound safe. It doesn't sound good. The foreign currency that the Federal Reserve acquires is an asset on the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. Okay, so this is the swap, the nature of the swap. So they're holding it. But see, that doesn't make sense. I mean, are they susceptible to the volatility of all of these other currencies? I'm assuming that they are. So then, I mean, there's so many questions I have. It says because the swap is unwound at the same time, at the same exchange rate. Okay, I see. Oh, okay, I see. Oh, okay. You have some intelligence, Federal Reserve. Okay, so there we have it. So it's not susceptible to the volatilities. All right, so it says it's unwound at the same exchange rate that it used in the initial draw. The dollar value of the asset is not affected by changes in the market exchange rate. I was about to say, oh, okay. All right. now that we covered all of that, but there's good information. See, we're learning here. We're growing here. We ask questions. But we're not irrationally against something like, okay, let me find out if what I believe is true or not. And then if it's not, let's update ourselves and let's become better. Let's better our knowledge. That's what we do here, folks. We're learning all together. All right. So now let's close out with a little bit of gold news. I had 2 articles left, but let's close out with a little gold news here, okay? We're doing good today. We're flowing. We had a good Monday. I hope you did. So this is from calcanmedia.com. Goes as such. Gold prices backed off from the key $2,000 mark in a volatile trade on Monday as investors assess the health of the global banking sector, even as increasing bets of a rate pause by the Federal Reserve keep bullion near its 1-year peak. Spot gold was down 0.6% at $1,976 per ounce as of 13:18 GMT, while U.S. gold futures rose 0.5% to $1,983.20. Prices fell over 1% before climbing by the same amount to the metal's highest level since March 2022 at $2,009.59. Quote, gold's volatility reflects that the market is digesting the recent shotgun wedding between Credit Suisse and UBS and the possible contagion, said independent analyst Ross Norman. Prices have rallied more than $100 after the collapse of US-based Silicon Valley Bank earlier this month, which ensnared 167-year-old lender Credit Suisse. And Credit Suisse has a lot of problems. They were always going to have a major problem. It says here, Europe's bank shares fought back from an early slump led by UBS Group's rescue deal to buy Credit Suisse, failed to assuage market fears of a global banking contagion, sending their shares sharply lower. Investors will keenly watch a Fed policy decision due on Wednesday. Traders are now pricing in a 49% chance of the Fed holding rates in the current range. Gold is considered a safe haven. Or what we know. Calcan Media, we know this. You're preaching to the choir. We know this. All right. We love gold over here, and silver also, you know. Coppers, copper, palladium. Watching you. Platinum, we're watching you. watching you. But we love gold and silver. That we do love. So anyway, now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.